Good morning, naturalists. Welcome to your first video lesson with Miss Frei. I hope this lesson finds you all doing wonderfully. I sure miss you a lot, and I would much prefer to be in person with you. But the one good thing that's come out of this whole coronavirus is that it's pushing me to grow as a teacher. And I guess, as they say, you never stop growing and learning. So that's exactly what I'm doing, is growing and learning. And of course, I hope I can continue to help you grow and learn in your math, because you all have made such profound gains this year, and I want you to keep it up. This is our very last chapter in fourth grade math, and then we're going to do some fun activities after that. But we still need to finish this. So this is a really important chapter. Chapter 12 is all about measurement and different ways to measure, and I will be uploading some helpful tools online. As I'm doing this video, I'm thinking about 3 things I needed to upload for you today, so I'll do that after my video. So today our focus is to do measurement benchmarks, and it says, how can you use benchmarks to understand the relative size of the measurement units? See, I even have my blue pen today, so that's kind of fun. So a benchmark is basically kind of, it's kind of a foundation, or, what someone might use as, a foundational thing. So people will typically say, okay, an inch, you can always say, is from the tip of your finger to your first knuckle. And people will say a foot. Some people's feet are about 12 inches long, so some people use their actual foot to measure the unit foot, which is 12 inches. So benchmarks are just a helpful way to do quick measurements. And notice the words say about. So there's 2 different systems that we use in the United States. The United States uses one called customary, and that's how that's spelled here, customary. And customary units, the only place that you'll see customary units used is the U.S. The rest of the world uses what's called metric units, and you'll also see metric units being used in medicine. So like if you go to a doctor's appointment, sometimes they'll do your weight and they'll say you weigh this many kilograms. So that's considered a metric unit. And also in science. So science, medicine, and the rest of the world uses the metric unit. And then of course we use the customary unit in the U.S. and sometimes the metric unit, especially if we're in the fields of science or medicine. So basically, Jake says the length of his bike is about 4 yards. Use the benchmark units listed below to determine if his statement is reasonable. So an inch, we already talked about, is the tip of your finger to your first knuckle. Okay, a foot is about the length. So notice we're doing customer units of length, is about the length of a license plate. A yard, about a baseball bat. And then a mile is how long it takes to walk or jog. It's about 20 minutes. So when we have these units, we abbreviate them. And so the abbreviation for an inch is IN, period. The abbreviation for foot is FT. And these are lowercase. They don't capitalize these. The abbreviation for yard is YD. And the abbreviation for mile is MI. So basically, do you guys agree that Jake's bike is 4 of these baseball bats? And the answer is no, because that would be one gargantuan bike. So Jake's statement is not reasonable. His bike is about 1 1/4 baseball bats long. Okay, so that's customary units of length, inch, foot, yard, and mile. Okay, so that's how we measure length in the United States. So you'll hear people refer to how many miles per hour they were driving. And that's why all the signs on the side of the road say miles per hour for the loss. Okay, the next one is our customary units of liquid volume. Okay, and so liquid volume is the measure of the space a liquid occupies. So again, this is what we use in the U.S. So when you do some cooking over this period of isolation, hopefully you've been getting to experience doing some cooking, you would see these types of measurements in your kitchen. So we have fluid ounces, and the abbreviation for that is FLOZ. Even though the word ounces doesn't have a Z in it, we abbreviate it with a Z. The abbreviation for a cup is C, and there are actually 8 ounces in 1 cup. And then if you have a pint, that would be 16 ounces is in a pint, and a pint is also 2 cups. And the abbreviation for pint is PT. And then we have a quart, and notice the word quart, like I always think of quarter, like quarters, and there's 4 quarters in $1. There's 4 cups in 1 quart. So it's kind of flipped thinking, but just whenever I see the word quart, I always think 4. So there's 4 cups, which would also be, that if you do the math, of course, that would be 32 ounces. And the abbreviation for quart is QT, and that's lowercase q and t. And then we have half a gallon, which is going to be 2 quarts or 8 cups. And then, of course, we have 1 gallon. The abbreviation for gallon is GAL. And I'm sure you've all seen that gallon of milk in the grocery store. That's 16 cups in a gallon, or they also say it has 4 quarts. A lot of different ways you can talk about it. And then they just ask these questions here, like about how much liquid is in a mug of hot cocoa. Well, most of us can only handle about a cup worth. Beyond that, you'd get a really big tummy ache if you had like a gallon of hot cocoa. Okay, and then the other thing we oftentimes measure is weight. And weight takes into consideration the gravitational pull of the planet. So an ounce is about that of a pencil. A pound is about a loaf of bread, and a ton is about the weight of a car. Ounce, again, the abbreviation is OZ. A pound, the abbreviation is LB, which is very strange, and I don't know why. I probably should have looked that up so I could share an interesting fact with you today. But maybe one of you can look that up, and you can teach me. So pound is LB, and then a ton is actually a capital T. So in the United States, when we use the customary units, length, inch, foot, yard, and mile, liquid volume is going to be ounces, cups, pints, quarts, and gallons. And then weight is going to be ounces, pounds, and tons. Okay, now we're going to move into the metric units. So this is, like I said, used in science and medicine, and pretty much the rest of the world uses these metric units. So again, we measure things with length, we do liquid volume, and then they talk about it in the form of mass, which is not, it's how much space an object takes up, and it doesn't take into consideration the gravitational pull. So it's a little bit different than weight, but it's very similar. So a lot of times they're compared that way. Okay, metric units of length. We have a millimeter, which is about the size of it's about the size of a pin, not a pen, but a pin. And then a centimeter is going to be from this side of my finger to this side, so it's this much. And then a decimeter is about the length of my hand, the palm of my hand. And they have it going out to your thumb. A meter is about the size of a door, and then a kilometer is what you can go in about 10 minutes. So if you were to go to Europe or Africa, you would see signs saying you can go this many kilometers per hour. And we actually say kilometer, we don't say kilometer. Even though we say millimeter, centimeter, decimeter, and meter, then we say kilometer. So it's a little bit different. Okay, and they say, is the length of your classroom greater than or less than 1 kilometer? It's obviously less than, because a kilometer it's a big distance. I mean, it would take you 10 minutes to walk it. And then we have our metric units of liquid volume. So again, customary was those cups and ounces and stuff like that. In the metric, we use milliliters, and the way we abbreviate that is M, capital L, and then liter, and the way we abbreviate liter is capital L. And the reason why we do a capital L and not a lowercase l is because a lowercase l looks like the number 1. So that's why we do capital L. Sorry, going back real quick, I'm going to tell you the abbreviations of these. The abbreviation of a millimeter is mm. of a centimeter, I bet you can guess, cm, decimeter, dm, meter, just an m, and a kilometer is km. Okay, and then how much medicine is usually in a medicine bottle? It's going to be in milliliters. You've probably seen, and again, see, notice we said medicine. Medicine uses milliliters, uses the metric system. So next time you get medicine, you'll see where they say you can maybe take 15 mil, and you'll hear them abbreviate it too and say mils, like 15 mils, which means milliliters. Okay, and then we have the metric unit of mass. So a dollar bill, it's very light, but again, mass is taking into consideration the space that an object takes, not necessarily the weight, but it's a little bit, just a little bit different. So, but you can just for all intensive purposes think about it as a weight, just so that it makes more sense to you. But a dollar bill is about a gram, and then a baseball bat is about a kilogram. And about how much is the mass of a paper clip? And it's going to be a gram. Obviously, a paper clip isn't the same as a baseball bat. Okay, and then usually we don't do the backside, but the whole backside of this lesson is showing us metric unit, and the front side was showing us customary. So you're going to see a lot of my video lessons. I'm going to do this with you. And what I'd like you to do is when I get to the share and show parts of some of my videos, I'd like you to pause and, after we do one or two, pause the video, fill it out, and then restart the video to make sure you're on the right track and you're getting the right answers. So it says use the benchmarks to choose the metric unit you would use to measure each. So here's the metric units listed over here. Again, centimeter, meter, and kilometer. Those are measuring length. A gram and a kilogram are measuring mass, and then a milliliter and a liter are measuring volume. And just remembering those abbreviations: centimeter, cm, meter, m, kilometer, km. Gram is a g, kilogram is kg, milliliter is m, capital L, and liter is capital L. Because it's really good to learn those abbreviations, because that's what you're going to see. Okay, so this is a good part to kind of stop the video, fill it out for yourself, and then start it and see if you've gotten them correct. So the mass of a strawberry, of course, is going to be in grams, because a strawberry is going to be closer to a dollar bill than it is to a baseball bat. And then the length of a cell phone, you're going to measure that in centimeters, because meters is too big. That's the size of a door, so that's much too large. Then it says circle the better estimate. Width of a teacher's desk, is it about 10 meters or 1 meter? Well, 10 meters would be one massive desk. If I was a giant, then yes, maybe my desk could be that big, but since I'm not, it'll be that. The amount of liquid in a punch bowl holds, is it going to be 2 liters or 20 liters? Well, if you think about a 2-liter bottle of soda, of course, 2 liters makes more sense. Number 5, the distance between Seattle and San Francisco. Is it going to be 6 miles or 680 miles? Definitely it's going to be 680 miles, because 6 miles is even less than the distance of going from School in the Woods to downtown Colorado Springs. That's less than 6 miles, so that wouldn't make sense to go from one city in one state to another city in a different state. Okay, and then down here we're talking about customary units, so those U.S. units. An inch, a foot, and a yard. Those are measures of length. An ounce and a pound is going to be measuring the weight. And a cup and a gallon is going to be measuring that volume. And again, inch is going to be IN, foot, FT, yard, YD. So these are those abbreviations. Ounce is OZ, pound, LB, cup is C, gallon is GAL. The length of a football field, that is going to be, what do you think, guys? Inch, foot, yard. Of course, that's going to be in yards. And if you watch football, then they'll say, they had a fumble at this yard line, so that's pretty standard language there. The weight of a pumpkin, so we're looking at weight, is going to be in ounces or pounds, and that's definitely pounds. I'm sure you've heard that too. And you go to the grocery store go somewhere to pick out your pumpkin, and the bigger your pumpkin, the more expensive it is because it weighs more pounds. Circle the better estimate. Weight of a watermelon is going to be 4 pounds or 4 ounces. Definitely 4 pounds because it weighs more than a couple pencils. And the amount of liquid in a fish tank is going to hold 10 cups or 10 gallons. Well, 10 cups is not even a gallon, and so you better have some teeny tiny fish, or don't own fish at all if you only have 10 cups, because that's not enough water for them to swim in. Complete the sentence, write more or less. Matthew's large dog weighs more or less than 1 ton. Well, unless it's Clifford the big red dog, it's going to weigh less. The amount of liquid a sink can hold is more or less than 1 cup of water. Of course, it's going to be more because 1 cup is tiny. And a paper clip has a mass of more or less than 1 kilogram. It's definitely going to be less because we know that a gram is a paper clip. So that does it for my lesson today. I hope you guys just take good care. I really, really miss you. And from here, you can get on Think Central and do the assignment that's posted on Think Central, or you can print out the home learning, which is here. I wrote in the answers so that I have the answer key up online for you too. So if you want, you can print the actual lesson from here, from this packet, like we always do in class, and you can fill it out, take pictures, upload it, or you can just look at it on your screen, write the answers on a separate sheet of paper, take a picture, upload it, or like I said, you can do Think Central. So I will see you again tomorrow for lesson 12.2. Take good care. Bye.